And welcome to the Steelers Roundtable on TribLIVE Radio. Josh Taylor, Chris Adamski join me in studio. Soon to be joined by Mark Cabali on the phone. He is in Charlotte for the Panthers and Steelers final preseason game, kicking off, I believe, at 7 o'clock tonight on CBS. So we will discuss that game as well. But I want to get to the news that broke late yesterday morning, early yesterday afternoon, and it's something that, Chris, we pretty much expected, given the events that have led up to this point. But Antonio Brown gets the raise that he wanted. Not only that, but it looks like he's going to be making about, $10.25 million this year. That's been increased. But also, we also find that there is a promise in place to extend his contract after this season ends. So it looks like both sides are happy with what happened yesterday.
Yeah, I don't think the second part of it, that's generally speaking, the Steelers. We'll see. That being said, I was going to say that the Steelers, anytime they want somebody and they like somebody as a Pro Bowl or whatever caliber player, starting a quality caliber player, they always end up getting their guy and extending him pretty much. Although now David DeCastro is down to 11 days before so maybe could break this rule. But overall, during the offseason before their final year of a contract, they've always done that. So Antonio Brown, of course, would be somebody the Steelers want to keep. Now we'll see if you don't want to assume anything, again, going back to DeCastro, assume anything, but certainly, Antonio Brown, especially being represented by a super agent as it is in Drew Rosenhaus.
Whom we saw a lot of during the preseason, by the way. We saw a lot of Drew Rosenhaus at Steelers preseason games.
He definitely made AB a priority, that's for sure. He was around a lot, around all the Steeler games, all three of the Steeler games to this point. That includes one in New Orleans, two in Pittsburgh. And you could make heck if we've talked I think on this show about how he could 150 catches, could break the all-time record. He's already had two of the top four all-time reception numbers in a single season in league history over the past 2 years here. So you could really set the bar really, really high in contract negotiations if you're AB and if you're his agent. So you don't want to assume that something will get done because you could reasonably do it. There's times where you say, a player's being unreasonable or something, but you could make the case he could be the highest paid player in NFL history, or maybe the highest paid non-quarterback. Let's go for that for sure, and get a super high guarantee and a super high bonus, and not be being outlandish with those demands. And I don't know if the Steelers will go there, but we're getting way ahead of ourselves here.
We are.
This won't happen until begin to happen until next spring, but all the way around, it seems like something that it makes sense and not totally unexpected. Consider what happened last summer with the advance from this year's salary to last year's. 500
targets, 375 catches, 5,000 yards, 30 touchdowns. Only one player has done it in the last 3 seasons. That player is Antonio Brown. So for no other reason, the numbers speak to as to why he's earning this raise that he got. You mentioned David DeCastro, and you said 11 days till they can figure this out before the season starts. Is there any likelihood this does not get done?
I would say no. I think you might even ask me again, going back to right on this very airwaves or this very internet waves, whatever it is, but back in July or back in March, and I would have said no. There's no chance it won't get done. But I never would have dreamed we got to this point or in September. So obviously, hasn't been as smooth and as simple as a lot of people thought for whatever reason. I guess you could make the case that the Steelers may prioritize, but I don't think this Brown situation really was much of a labor-intensive situation to get to. It's pretty much exactly what anybody would have expected. It's pretty simple. It wasn't like you had to sit there and crunch the numbers and go through and be creative with a back and forth negotiation. It's pretty much a $2 million raise from what it was supposed to be this year, the same as they did last year, moving it from that. So I don't think that would prevent them from talking to David DeCastro's representation. So I would still be very surprised if it's not done. However, the fact that it's gotten to September 1st and it's not done does leave a little bit of doubt there that maybe for some reason it won't.
Blame Oakland. That's the tag I'm using to it. Blame Oakland. Kelechi Osemele, that is the contract that really raised the bar as far as what NFL guards get paid, and that's what David DeCastro, I imagine that's what he wants to be in that realm of as far as the highest paid guards in the league. I believe David DeCastro is a better guard than Kelechi Osemele. That's just my personal opinion, but I'm sure a lot of people would agree. But this is something that we'll be paying attention to. Like Chris said, we have about a week and a half before the season opener in Washington, and you imagine that David DeCastro will have a new contract in hand by then, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see.